so we got to talk about this very controversial new tip line that's being launched in Virginia. So the new governor there says parents can report educators and school officials they find to be behaving objectionably, including teaching divisive subjects, and I say that in quotes. The governor has banned the teaching of critical race theory in schools, although he did admit it's not even being taught anywhere in Virginia. Another important note, this tip line is actually an email address that parents can write in. DBL Nation, we got to hear from you. What do you think? Is this tip line a good idea or a bad idea? Let's bring on the tag board. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. Erica, what do you think?
Well, I think that if we were going to have this tip line, we probably should have started with Columbus discovering America. Realistically, you know, my mother is a professor emeritus. She taught in the School of Education for decades at the university she was at. And enrollment for the School of Education is down substantially pretty much across the board. People are no longer interested in becoming teachers. And why should they?
Right.
I mean, they're barely living above poverty line. And now you want to police everything that is being said and done, which I do think that there is a line to, obviously, you're a parent, you should be invested in what your child is learning. But when we're having these conversations, we know what it's truly about. And at the core of it, it's about this debate that isn't even a debate because it's not being taught anyway when it comes to critical race theory.
What do you think, Jeff?
You know, it's a tough one, this whole thing, because I totally get what Erica's saying, but what is school, right? For me, school was more about the relationships I'm formed and how to communicate with other people, especially college, right? It wasn't so much about the education, you learn things along the way, but it's how you survive on your own, you build those relationships, like you said. I learned more from life experiences than I ever did from a book in school. So how much weight does this really carry? I think we need to teach more, be critical race theory, talk more about inclusivity. Those things need to be included because some people don't get to see black people where they're from and vice versa. Those things need to be taught in school, but real life is going to teach you your best examples. So the more real life experiences that you could take your kids out of that bubble that they're in and bring them the outside world, the better I think the education is going to be. So if you have one class for 5 minutes that talks about this, you need a tip line for it. Let the teachers do what they got to do. You know what I mean? Like Erica said, no one wants to be a teacher anymore.
Yeah,
right? They're there barely hanging on, and now we're going to give them tips on how to do their job. Right. I don't know.
Tori?
Yeah, I think this is a dog whistle for CRT really clearly. And I also think that if you want to, people are also wanting to microphone teachers and put mics in there so parents can listen in. If you're that concerned, either show up at a school board meeting or sit in a class or homeschool your child, because we're not paying these teachers enough to do protect them from shooters, and now they're being sort of tapped, if you will, with a mob ready to tip line. No one, you won't get good teachers, and you won't get a good generation of citizens that are educated at all, period.
Yeah, it's the way it was marketed, right? It was marketed as like we're villainizing the teachers. So it didn't feel like we're here as a community to make sure if you see something, you say something. It wasn't presented that way at all.
Yeah, and there's bad teachers too. Like we take the extreme and just put like, of course there's bad teachers, of course there's bad everything. Right. But we can't use that as the example of what everybody is.
Well said. Let's see what our viewers say. 74% of you say bad idea. We are all on the same page. That never happens. All of us and the viewers.